World News in 5.
Right now.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes. World News in 5. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good day to all of our listeners here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This is World News in 5 and I'm your host, Steph Vicente. King Charles III's visit to the United States was intended as a celebration of America's 250th anniversary and the long-standing alliance between the two nations, but it has also taken on the tone of a diplomatic repair effort. The BBC reports relations between Washington and London have recently been strained, partly due to the United Kingdom's hesitation to fully support the joint United States-Israeli war against Iran. In response, the king has sought to ease tensions through a series of engagements, including a high-profile address before Congress. There are signs of cautious optimism as U.S. President Donald Trump's often unpredictable approach to foreign relations leaves room for a potential reset. While differences remain, the king emphasized themes of reconciliation and renewal, noting the resilience of ties between the two countries over centuries. Following their White House meeting, President Trump spoke positively about the monarch, calling him a fantastic person and expressing honor in hosting him. Still, some portions of the king's speech appeared to resonate more with Democratic lawmakers and may have drawn mixed reactions within the administration, underscoring the delicate balance of the visit. In other news overseas, the Federal Communications Commission or FCC has ordered an early review of television broadcast licenses held by the Walt Disney Company just days after U.S. President Donald Trump publicly criticized late-night host Jimmy Kimmel. President Trump called on ABC, which is owned by Disney, to cancel Kimmel's show following controversial remarks about current First Lady Melania Trump. In a Tuesday order, the BBC reports the FCC said it is investigating ABC stations over potential violations, including unlawful discrimination. Disney responded by saying its ABC stations continue to operate within federal guidelines and remain committed to serving the public with reliable news and programming. Under the directive, Disney must submit license renewal applications for all its TV stations within 30 days, years ahead of their scheduled 2028 review. The FCC may require the company to prove it meets public interest standards as part of the process. While rare, the review raises the possibility that broadcast licenses could be revoked, an action the FCC has not taken in more than 4 decades. And finally, plans to install a statue in New Zealand honoring so-called comfort women from World War II have been turned down by local officials. According to BBC News, the Japanese embassy had earlier warned that placing the statue in a public garden in Auckland could strain diplomatic ties between the two countries. The bronze piece, donated by a Korean advocacy group, depicts a young girl seated beside an empty chair and was meant to commemorate victims of wartime sexual slavery. Historians estimate more than 200,000 women and girls, mostly from Korea, but also from China, the Philippines, Indonesia, and Taiwan, were forced into prostitution during the war. Auckland Council officials said the proposal lacked sufficient community support based on public feedback. The Devonport Takapuna Local Board ultimately voted against the installation, while New Zealand's national government noted that such decisions are made at the local level despite Japan raising formal concerns. And that concludes today's edition of World News in 5. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this has been Steph Vicente. Good day and stay safe, everyone.
World News in 5.
Right now.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes. World News in 5. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.